Okay, with the weather we weren't able to have class today, so I did want to take some time to go over what will be on your test Thursday. As you might recall, we began this unit by talking about historical systems. So we talked first about the three systems, Greek, Egyptian, and Roman numerals. We had various symbols for each of those. Now I will provide you on your test with the set of symbols for the Greek numbers so that you can use those, and as well the Egyptian symbols so that you can use that to write those numbers. The Roman numerals, though, you will need to know the symbols for. Okay, Roman numerals are something we still encounter every once in a while, so expect on the test that you would know the various symbols for the Roman numerals and how to work with those. I will provide you again with the symbols for the Greek and Egyptian, and you can see that as you look at your practice test as well. We also talked about the Babylonian system. You don't have to remember their special symbols. Remember, we used that convention of using commas to separate place values. So you'll be looking at converting from base 60 numbers or Babylonian numbers over to our number system. Again, refer to the sample test for some examples of that. We then moved on and talked about more general number systems. There will be a couple questions about symbolic systems, symbolic base-n system, where you'll be provided with symbols and then asked to answer some questions, and then we'll be going from base n to decimal and decimal to base n. Wanted to take a few moments and just review those last two, going from a base n number over to decimal and from a decimal back to base n. So as an example, let's say that we have the number D for E in base 20 and we want to write the decimal. So we're going from a particular base back to our decimal system. So when we do that, we have to look at our place values. Place value always starts at 1, then the number, and then you work your way up through your powers of the numbers. Since we only have 3 places here, the places would do 1, 20, and 20 squared. Remember also, for numbers bigger than 10, we use the letters A through J. So D would be 13 and E would be 14. So we could write that out as 13 times 20 squared plus 4 times 20 plus 14 times 1. And then we just add that up to get our answer, 5,294. The other way is taking a decimal and writing it in some base. So in this example, I considered the number 52 and we wanted to write it in base 3. Remember, to go back from a decimal to some other base, we have to know the place values for that base, so we look at the powers of the base, in this case 3. That would be 1, 3, 9, 27. The next one would be 81, would be too big. And remember, what we do here is we divide. So we would take 27 into 52, find out that goes one time, with 25 left over. We then take the remainder, go to the next power. So 9 into 25 goes 2 times, with 7 left over. Then to the next power, 3 goes into 7 2 times, with 1 left over. And then finally 1 goes into 1 time. And now we have our place value, so we just write it out as 1, 2, 2, 1 in base 3. And so that's what we did with converting from decimal over to base, some other base, or from that base over to decimal. And then in the final section, 1.2, we also did some more problems. We talked about going from binary over to decimal. And we talked about going from base 16 over to decimal. We then also talked about adding and subtracting in binary. We talked about 2 ways to subtract. On the test, I don't force you to do it both ways, so just do it whichever way you're most comfortable with. Again, please refer to the sample test for some more examples. We also talked about doing the complement of a number in base 2. So be sure to remember how to do that. On the sample test, ignore problems 25 through 27. Okay, that was from another previous semester when we covered slightly different content. Instead, your questions that will replace those will be like the ones we finished up this unit with, where we were converting from base 2 over to either base 4 or base 16. So we're again where we'd be converting from base 2 to either base 4 or base 16. If you refer back to your notes, we went over some examples. I also provided you with a chart. So you might recall here that chart for base 16 I will provide you on your test so that you have it to use. So recall as we did our examples, we went from a base 16 number to base 2. The way we did that is by taking each of our digits in base 16, writing down from the chart the 4-digit equivalent for binary, and then we throw it all together to get our base 2 number. When we are going the other way, from base 2 over to base 16, 16 is 2 to the 4th. So we grouped it into 4s. And then you take each of those 4-digit numbers, refer back to your chart to find out what symbol you would use in base 16. Okay, so please refer back to those examples. Those questions like that will replace the 25 through 27 on your sample test. Okay, so please refer to your sample test for additional examples. From that, you can then refer to your notes and problems we did in class to see ones like the ones on the sample test. Okay, good luck.